Forever. Dog.
Hey, it's Black Man Can't Jump in Hollywood. We have a great episode for you today, and we're celebrating Halloween with a special spooky surprise.
Oh yeah, later on in the show, you'll hear a bonus segment with two of our spookiest Forever Dog hosts, Lindsay and Kelly from Teen Creeps, presented by our friends at Mint Mobile.
To get your new unlimited wireless plan for just $30 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Hollywood.
Cut your unlimited wireless bill to $30 a month at mintmobile.com/Hollywood.
That's mintmobile.com/Hollywood.
Enjoy the show.
Forever. Dog.
Everyone kept saying this was like, yeah, I've looked on a bunch of lists. Everyone said this was a spooky movie, a horror movie, and I don't know if I agree.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, especially like when it came out in the 90s, I feel like people were like, oh, there's voodoo and like,
right.
You know.
This movie it's like the horror genre is like a very specific thing, feels like. This movie is definitely unnerving in a lot of ways.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
And it's not creepy, but it's like unsettling. It's like, oh, like this is not, you're like, oh my God. And it's definitely a horror story for some of the women who are in it, like the characters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's not like there's no jump scares. There's no, you're not sitting on the edge of your seat. It's not that kind of scary movie. So yeah, it's interesting. It was on a couple of lists, but and we have had people recommend this to us. But I'm glad we're doing it.
Same.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I think we should maybe just give that warning now that there's like, maybe a slight
sensitive
trigger warning.
Topics.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely sensitive topics in this movie.
But have you guys been to New Orleans? Because like it's such a like lively city, and there is this kind of like voodoo stuff there, and they have, and it's like like with tourism it becomes like a thing of like, oh, like that's fun, but I don't know, man, there's something about voodoo and like
I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. But just recently, I think I was telling James a long time ago, but like I started researching like voodoo and religions that are unique to like BIPOC cultures, if you will, and like researching voodoo. Like I grew up, hearing about voodoo dolls and stuff like that, and thinking of them like, sacrifice and stuff, but then actually reading it, it's so not that. You know what I'm saying? They still believe in like a God. They still believe in God and stuff like that. It's a thing that got bastardized by white Europeans. And it's so funny because I'm like, I grew up fearful of it. Like straight up, like, the spirits are coming back, like even Princess and the Frog. Like the main bad guy was a voodoo dude and he had like spirits dancing on the walls and shit.
Yes.
And so I don't know. It's just very fascinating hearing. Or even this movie, I think, respects it in a way where it's like, because we're taught what it actually is wrong, which makes sense because we're learning about American history and how much that's been tweaked. But it's just fascinating that like this religion that still believes in God, people probably don't even know that they do. You know what I mean? They don't know that they don't worship devils and stuff like that and spirits. It's just like a very fascinating. I'm very intrigued by voodoo, if that makes sense. But never been to New Orleans. Want to go?
Yeah.
I've never been either.
Yeah. Would you ever get a voodoo doll?
I don't like dolls because dolls freak me out. So I would never get a doll, but I would. The thing is, I don't know.
Oh my God. You just reminded me that my aunt Annie, she's passed away, but she had a like glass case full of dolls in her.
Wow.
And in one of her rooms, like just a bunch of dolls. Like you would walk in the room, there's just like a bunch of dolls in this glass case.
No.
No, but I, as a kid, not knowing anything about it, like knowing the bastardized version of Voodoo, did think that like something like that would be cool to have. I do remember really thinking like, wow, if I had the ability to just, because I wasn't you have all seen me. I'm a very thin dude, and like I had a lot of enemies. Okay, and I.
What are you, a rapper?
Had a lot
Yes,
of
I was a rapper, and I always thought that like, yeah, since I can't fight back, if I just had something that I could just like, all I have to do is just, like in Tales from the Hood, when he just rips up his stepdad like and crumbles him. Like I would have, if I could, something like that. If I had that ability, as a kid, I always thought that'd be cool.
Man, I always wanted to go. The trip I want to take my parents on, they've always wanted to go to New Orleans. And once I get some money, that is my goal, is to like I would have to drive them over to New Orleans, and like
that would be fun.
Yeah, man. Like I had a lot of friends who went down there and volunteered after Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of friends who did that that was the spring break thing people did when I was in college. Like went down to New Orleans and like helped out. I did not go. I felt bad, but I was like, I don't have no money just to be going on these trips.
Well, when you do take your parents down there eventually, you got to go to Cafe Du Monde and get some beignets. That's the place where you sit outside and there's like these little, they're called beignets. You see them in what do you call that movie, Princess and the Frog? Like that's the thing she's serving all the time.
Also, everyone remember that Jonathan Braylock filmed an episode of CSI
yes.
New Orleans.
That's right. Yeah.
So you got to spend. Was it a week? Did you get to spend this week down there?
Like I think it was like 4 days, maybe 5.
My man got flown first class to New Orleans, baby.
But yeah, you got to go to Cafe Du Monde, and you got to go to Eve's Bayou. It's just a really, just some sightseeing.
What are you looking at?
Yeah, what did you?
Like,
you just like stared dead-eyed at something off.
No, I was just saying, like, you got to go to Cafe Du Monde. They got the great beignets, and make sure you stop by Eve's Bayou.
Don't say it again. Not explain what you're talking about.
Yeah,
where are you looking?
I'm just imagining. No, it's just such a great place. I was just like picturing in my mind's eye.
Do you say a thing and don't want to see our reaction to it? Is that why you do it? Is that why? Because I've been noticing he will say a thing and it will just like look off, like we're not waiting for it. And 2,
it's a great place to look.
No, I don't want to. No, we don't want to.
Okay, let's start the show.
Jonathan Braylock, James III,
Jerah, Milligan.
What more can I say? You know what it is.
Black men can't jump.
Black actors, man. Black actors. All right.
Welcome to Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood.
Hollywood City.
Bad girl.
Ugh.
Bad girl.
Ugh, that's the one you picked?
I honestly couldn't think of a single line. The whole cold open, I was going, what is my line?
That was scary.
Wow.
And then at the last minute, I remembered that terrifying part of the movie. That was the scary part. I know people said this movie was scary. That was the scary part.
That was the scary
part.
It
was. You're right. I mean, honestly, Jurnee crushed it. So,
Yeah. So, for those of you who are listening to us for the first time, you should know that these melodic tones on your earbuds are Jonathan Braylock.
Oh.
If y'all can see the way he just
he was
salted from
like
side to side.
He was moving around the whole time. It was
Eyes
uncomfortable.
For everyone at home, this cool. I can't do it. I can't. I try. It doesn't. I break too easy. This is Jerah Milligan.
And for everybody at home listening to these sounds,
We got a pimp on the podcast.
it's James the Third.
Oh man. We are a film review podcast. We do review films of leading Black actors. We talk about them in the context of race and diversity in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And today we are reviewing the 1990. Is it 6 or 7?
97.
It is 7,
awesome.
right?
Yeah,
1997 film Eve's Bayou.
Oh yeah.
This stars Jurnee Smollett, Meagan Good, Samuel L. Jackson, and then let me see some of these other ladies. Lisa Nicole Carson, Lynn Whitfield, Debbi Morgan. This film is also directed by a Black woman.
Hey,
And written by her.
Lemmons, and written by her, Kasi Lemmons. And did you say you had a little something to talk? Was this the person you were talking about?
So basically, what is very cool, what I peeped is like later on we'll get to it. There was an episode, I think episode 8 or 9 of Lovecraft Country, and Jurnee Smollett's character wears the same shirt that her mom wears in a scene in this movie. And again, it's not a big deal. It's just that if you watch this movie and you see her outfit, it's like, oh shit, they paid homage to like the mom. It was like, it's just a very cool thing. Also, the thing I love about the director, is it, how do I say it? Kasi?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah, the thing that's
Kasi.
cool about her is that I love that she was an actress and then, got to write and direct this movie. And this movie is in the National Film Reserve, I believe.
wow.
Yeah, wow.
I think got inducted because it does talk about race in a really cool way that isn't like Black people being oppressed by white folk. So I thought that was a very cool thing, and I'm really happy it's in there. So it's in there with, Do the Right Thing. I think Black Panther's in there now. So,
yeah, I think it's fair to say this film is pretty legendary. Now, when it came out, it only made $14 million in the box office, but very popular with critics. 82% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Was only 4.
90%.
The budget was only 4.
Yeah, the budget was only 4.
Million?
So it did well. Yeah, it made.
Wait,
money
did this
for
get
sure.
any Oscar love? Why you laugh? That was like a real.
No.
What are you talking?
Wait, no, that was real.
That wasn't for
no.
the film. That wasn't for the film. It was just for the you think the Oscars are looking at
This movie was so.
Black
First
people,
off, come on. This is a movie I feel. You know what? You're right.
You right?
Damn.
Oh wait, hold up. You know what? I'm tripping.
Because in all honesty,
Like I forgot we've been doing this podcast for the last 5
honestly, you're
years,
right.
and
'Cause I was about to, 'cause I literally was gonna say
Yeah.
my next words were, but The Color Purple, and I was like, a white dude directed that.
Yeah. It was nominated for 7 NAACP awards. It won a Chicago. Let's see. Debbi Morgan won Best Supporting Actress from the Chicago Film Critics Award. Broadcast Film Critics gave Jurnee Best Child Performance. It won like some, what do you call these awards? Like indie awards.
Yeah, she like Jurnee won a Critics' Choice, but like all right. I know we're not supposed to like harping on the Oscars, but like, come on, man. Like this movie was well shot. This movie, like the kid acting in this movie was like.
This movie was very well shot. This movie, the acting in this film, it is
Like,
insane. It's off the chain. Jurnee.
oh my god!
Yeah.
Is
Jurnee is so good.
good. It's truly like it's one of those things where you're watching it and you're like, okay, I know Jurnee is a good actress. You know what I mean? Like I know she's very good. So at times I like forgot. I forgot about the fact that she was such a small child.
Yeah,
like
100%.
yes, she was on the Cosby Show, but it was just like you're like watching this and you're like, yeah, that's Jurnee. She's really good. And then I kept watching. I'm like, but she's the lead of this movie. And she's acting up against like very good actors. Like she's, in scenes with
Dude,
Debbi Morgan and Lynn Whitfield and Samuel L. Jackson. These are very good actors at the top of their game in a major motion picture in 97. and she's crushing.
I mean, not only that, but there's certain shots of her just like looking, and it's like, yo, this child is too good. Like her, like the mischievous look. I'm about to screw y'all over. Like when she fucks with her brother at one point.
It's so it is it like it, and nothing against other child actors, but there are some child actors who have gotten way, especially little white boys, have gotten way more praise for performances that are not as, I think, complex as Jurnee's performances in this movie.
No, and that I remember there was some New York casting director thing that Kat went to, and he was talking about how like he remembered auditioning like Natalie Portman when she was young, and a thing that he said about it was like a lot of like actors that were child actors and transitioned are technically like were as good as they are now back then. Like, and you can like see and watching this, not remembering, like I had seen this as a kid, but watching this now, being like, and knowing how she is now, like in Lovecraft and stuff, it was like, yeah, she's as technically good then as she is now, you know, like just with more emotional experience to infuse into the work now. Like she's great in this. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, she's good. When you see Meagan Good, and like again, what it sucks is I didn't know. I knew this movie existed, but for instance, for me, like my first introduction to Meagan Good was in like Cousin Skeeter and stuff like that. So like,
yeah,
Meagan Good was the actress I've always had a crush on, but I've never like seen her. Like Meagan Good was in this.
Like 14?
Yeah, like she was so good. She was emoting. And the thing is, like, what it frustrates is that yes, Jurnee is able to do Lovecraft Country right now. Like, you know, Misha Green had her on Underground. They both went over, did Lovecraft Country, which is great. Now Jurnee's getting a chance to do all these movies. Meagan Good, of course, has had a career. But there's something that's very frustrating about the fact that they were so good and so young. And that, again, like Braylock was saying, like, if these are like two white boys, like their career would have been drastically different. It wouldn't have taken so long for them to become truly household names. Like, again, we've probably known Jurnee because we watched Full House, you know, because we're black or stuff like that. But like I feel like for the most of the country, like this is the year you've heard of Jurnee because of what is it? Harley Quinn and now Lovecraft, where this girl's been around since she's been like 6 or 7. And I'm like, it wouldn't be what's that little boy name from The Room? Or Room? That little boy in everything. What is it? That little boy is everywhere. I just like, come on, man. I watched that little boy. He be in everything. I watched, what is it? The young girl from Stranger Things. She fucking Instagram be following her everywhere she goddamn go. And like it's instant when it's a little white kid.
I love her though.
They're all. My point is that they're all good.
She's great though.
They're all good, but the trajectory.
Yeah.
But the trajectory isn't the same. Like we talked about this when we talked about the Beast of No Nation.
My man from. I mean, who knows if it was a contract thing? But my man from Moonlight is in. Oh no, my man from Beast is in Spider-Man Far From Homecoming, but he's not in Far From Home. They just didn't bring him back.
They brought all the other kids back.
They brought all the kids back except him. He was the only kid that didn't come. Even the kids with under 5s came back and like did the news reports and stuff. And it was like they were just like, nah, but we can't get him back.
But that's frustrating. And again, like watching this movie, it was really cool because I'm gonna just admit it right now. I have a like watching Lovecraft. I think I'm in love with Jurnee, because I think, we're destined in the future, to be in love, So watching the younger her act, I was like, I'm so mad for you. Even though it's frustrating because I understand, like I'm saying, like this person is now famous, but to have this movie come out in 1997 and not have her have whatever the next big thing was in 98, 99, 2000, the next movie I saw her in was fucking Roll Bounce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like, what was it? Or the Denzel, The Great Debaters. You know what I mean? I don't know. This shit is driving me crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this film though, because it is pretty incredible. East Bayou. Let's see. The only other thing, I guess, the short little explanation is this is a movie set down, not actually in New Orleans, but like I guess like in Louisiana, right? Like in the
the
bayous. We have like, and they're kind of a Creole family. There's a little French spoken, and so you have these. Jurnee is one of 3 children, with Samuel Jackson and Lynn Whitfield's character. They're both, what is it? Batiste? I don't know.
Jean-Claude Batiste.
Yes. And Samuel Jackson is the dad. He is a doctor. Very early on, Jurnee kind of sees him caught in the act of infidelity. Kind of has to keep that secret. And I don't know. It's like hard. It's hard to describe the plot. It's kind of just that. It's just the unraveling of this family.
I mean, it opens heavy. It opens legit with the VO.
Yeah.
I killed my dad when I was 9. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
That's what this movie's about. When I was 9. Oh my! Because I had never seen it. Damn.
Yeah, and my memory of it, my mismemory of it was like, yeah, and then like halfway through she kills him, then the second half is crazy, like it goes insane. But I fully misremembered what happened. Hey everyone, it's James, John, and Jerah from Black Men Can't Jump in Hollywood.
What's Gucci?
What up, what up?
Yo.
It's Halloween time, and we have a spooky news segment today brought to you by our friends at Mint Mobile called Trick or Treat.
Who you calling the treat?
Mint Mobile wants to remind listeners that there is nothing scarier than overpaying on your wireless bill, so join Mint Mobile today.
We are joined by our spooky sisters, Forever Dog's resident horror experts and resident Mint Mobile experts, Lindsay K-Tai and Kelly Nugent. Welcome, ladies.
Hey, thanks so much for having us.
Hi.
So before we start our segment, we've heard your ads run on our show and the Forever Dog Network at large, but we just need to know, does this actually work though?
It really does. I am literally always screaming at everyone I know to get on Mint Mobile because it is so much cheaper and you have the exact same coverage and it's very, very easy to switch over.
We get it's $30 a month for unlimited talk and text on the nation's 5G network, but is it? Like, should we switch?
Yes, you should definitely switch. And Kelly is, in fact, screaming about Mint Mobile all the time. She calls me every day and she's like, you got to get on Mint Mobile. And I'm like, Kelly, I read these ads with you all the time.
Good enough for me.
My phone bill went from like $97 to $30 a month. It's great.
I'm switching.
All right, I'll trust you now because I need a cheaper bill.
Okay, are you ready to play a trick or treat?
Woo woo.
Who paid for that sound effect?
Here we go. Roll the spooky music.
All right, everybody, the game is simple. We're going to read you a list of love 'em or hate 'em horror classics, and you're going to tell us if you hate it, trick, or love it, treat. And we're going to need consensus.
All right, okay.
All right.
Let's try it.
They got money.
Hereditary, trick or treat?
Man, this is a tough one because, there are parts of it I really like. There are a lot of treats, but, that end was kind of crazy. Ooh,
What you doing?
I'm going to do treat.
I'm gonna give it a treat. It was freaky as hell, man. I'm gonna give it a treat.
I'm going to say treat too.
Why you pose when you said it?
Because I just want people to feel it.
Okay. All right.
Get out. Trick or treat.
Hell yeah, that's a treat. I'm not even waiting.
yeah,
That's a treat. That's a treat all day. Get Out is a treat. That's a black dude that's a lead of a horror movie, and he makes it out. Treat.
The treatiest.
Here's a really hard one. Paying just $30 a month for unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network, trick or treat?
I see what you did there.
We already asked you if it was a trick.
It's a treat. It is 100% a treat.
I see what y'all did. Yeah, okay, that's a treat.
Yeah.
All right.
You're right. It's a treat. It's not only insanely cheap, but it's reliable. Mint Mobile uses the same 5G network as T-Mobile and AT&T. Candyman, trick or treat?
Candyman. Candyman?
Hey, stop it.
Bray,
Stop
you
it.
better shut
Stop it.
Candy?
Yo, mouth.
Stop it. Stop it.
Bray!
It's a treat. It's a treat.
Paranormal Activity, trick or treat.
Oh, that is 100% a trick.
That movie
Wait,
gets
isn't
no
it
love.
real? I thought it was real. Everything that happened
No,
in
man,
it
it
was
ain't real. It's a trick.
Not Blair Witch.
All right.
Y'all get where I was?
I don't like it.
Blade, trick or treat.
You know Blade is a treat.
That's a treat all day.
I don't like that Blade is considered horror. Because Blade is just, because think about it, Blade is just a man trying to save.
Don't do this.
No, hear me
Don't act
out.
like it ain't vampires all over the movie.
Don't act
Blade-
like the beginning of the movie ain't a man getting rained on by blood.
But listen, Blade is a hero. He should be a hero movie, not a horror.
He's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
But why is he anti? Because he half vampire?
Yeah.
He can walk in the daytime. He not sucking blood.
He does suck blood.
He does it at the end, but he does
See?
that to save everybody. So, he just misunderstood. That's what I think.
All right, let's move on.
The Saw franchise, trick or treat.
Well, I,
Saw
love
1
the
was
first
good.
Saw.
Yeah, Saw 1 was good.
I've seen
It's
Saw
got Danny
4,
Glover.
and I was like, what is this?
But Danny Glover, he ain't never come back. This is a trick.
Yeah, true.
And that's trick or treat. Happy Halloween, everyone. Yay.
Happy Halloween.
And remember, friends, you could be paying just $30 a month for amazing wireless coverage. Just $30 a month with Mint Mobile. And for you fans of horror fiction, we implore you to check out Teen Creeps every Wednesday on Forever Dog.
To get your new unlimited wireless plan for just $30 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Hollywood.
What's up, y'all? We all know that this quarantine and the state of the world has been doing a number on a lot of us. But we want to let you know and talk to you about BetterHelp. That's HELP. All right, BetterHelp will access your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. All right, I know a lot of people feel some kind of way about therapy, but I have a therapist and it helps me in ways that I can't even break down to you guys right now. All right, with BetterHelp, you can start communicating with a representative in under 48 hours. This is not a crisis line. It's not some self-help line. This is professional counseling that is securely online. I mean, the service available to clients nationwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. All right, you'll get timely, professional responses. Plus, you can schedule a weekly video, phone session, so you don't have to sit uncomfortable waiting in that, traditional therapy room. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so they make it easy, and feel free to change counselors if need be. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. All you got to do is visit betterhelp.com/jump, JUMP. So remember, visit BetterHelp, HELP.com/JUMP. Use our podcast name. You'll get 10% off your first month. And again, I cannot advocate for therapy even any more better than I can say right now. I have a therapist. I'm not ashamed of it. Guys, times are stressful. Please get the help you need. There's nothing to feel ashamed or awkward about. Reach out to betterhelp.com. That's BETTERHELP.com/JUMP. Be safe out there, y'all.
Hi, Forever Dog listeners. It's Meatball and Big Dipper.
That's right, I'm here too. So this year, we have seen what staying silent can do. Oof. Woof. And right now, you have an unprecedented opportunity to speak up. We all do. So make sure to cast your vote and be heard this November.
It's never too early to register to vote, but it might be too late before you know it.
Right, so we want to help make it easy for you to register and have a plan for November 3rd, or before if you're doing early voting as an option in your state.
Yes, Queen, please do.
Right, it's important to vote so that your country can finally reflect your values.
So go to foreverdogpodcast.com/vote to register. Check on your registration often and learn how to fill out your ballot.
That's right. If you haven't registered to vote yet, this is a really easy way to do it. And it feels like it's not outside your comfort zone because you love podcasts, you listen to our podcast, and you can do it very easily at foreverdogpodcast.com/vote. And remember, each state is different, so make sure you are following your local rules and regulations for where you register to vote.
Yeah, and take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And make sure to vote because there's a demon in the office.
Do we want to talk about initial thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go. I had never seen this movie. I remember, my aunties watching it, but they kicked all the kids out. And I just have never seen it. I've never seen like a rerun on like BET or nothing like that. But I kind of knew what it was about. I really, really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was shot beautifully. It is very frustrating. I need to stop comparing things to the Oscars, but this just feels like an Oscar-worthy movie. It's like it was shot well. The cinematography was great. The music, the direction, like the acting from everybody. Like, I mean, Sam Jackson, who was barely in the movie, he was almost too slick that you couldn't trust him. You know what I mean? Like, Meagan Good was, again, I don't have siblings, but Meagan Good, like, her relationship with him felt uncomfortable from the very beginning. Like, I was like, oh, so this is probably, like, I just thought it was really cool. I thought, again, like I said at the top, I do have this fascination with, like, voodoo and, like, things of that nature. So to see it and not see it be, like, I guess they did, but, like, to see it, like, I'm not about to put a spell on you, and, like, there was no voodoo dolls, and even, like, the quote-unquote witch definitely goes, what voodoo doll? Like, she literally addresses why they ain't doing no goddamn voodoo dolls. You know what I mean? So I thought that was very, very smart. I'm a fan. I really like this movie. Should have got an Oscar nom, but what got nominated in '98? Let me look this
Don't
shit
look it up.
I'm gonna look it up.
It's not gonna. You're not gonna feel good.
Best picture.
I'll go. This is probably my second time seeing it all the way through. But this was also one of those, like, I've talked about, only a couple of these have come up on the podcast, but this was one of those, like, when it came on like HBO or Showtime or whatever, this was one of those, like, ooh, am I going to get to see a sex scene movies that I would, like, flip around to? And, like, it's so funny to watch it now as an adult because it was, like, just them rubbing against each other.
That's what the kid even...
But as a kid, I was like, hey,
hilarious.
The acting is just fantastic. I was so uneasy. Well, like Samuel L. Jackson made me so uncomfortable. Like he was so charming and so like, and also like you were like, but he's sleeping around with people, so like he's sleazy and like maybe there's bigger things going on behind closed doors, and like, but then in the scene when he gets shot, it's like, oh no,
shot was so cool.
Like you don't want him to die, even though you feel like maybe he molested his daughter, and like there's all this stuff, but something about his behavior, his portrayal of that is so powerful. All of the women in this were fantastic, and to that same end, like we're complaining about, and all these women have careers, but it's like they should all be bigger than they are. Every single one of them. Like they should all have all of the money in the world. They should be in every movie that gets made. And it's really a shame that a movie this well made came out in '98, and great that it's in the film registry because it should be, but it should be like everybody should know this movie and should be talking about this movie.
Yeah. This film is incredible. This is one of those films that you watch and you go, okay, so we can do this,
Yeah.
like
we've been doing this.
It's like 100% has the capability to create an incredible like this film is 100% better than a lot of the Oscar nominated movies that not just came out that year, but just in that decade. You know what I mean? And again, you know, it's not like to take away from other things. It's just to go, this is the exact type of movie, you know, that awards films, the award seasons look for. They're looking for films that touch on these uncomfortable topics, that are beautifully shot, that are incredibly well acted, you know, that have like this sense of, it's such a filmmaker's film too, because like I can imagine like sitting in the theater, like it's like the score for this movie is incredible. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just like you're like kind of listening to it, you're like drawn in, you're just like, what's going on? There are so many times in this movie where I laughed, and it was like somewhat uncomfortable laughs, but I also feel like the way that it was edited and shot was like, it was supposed to be like shocking. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's a quick, not to spoil too much, but there's this quick cut. They see this boy dead, and then it quickly cuts to them like cheering,
Yes.
like all the little kids being like, yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
and you're just like, whoa, like that's hilarious, like, and it's so disturbing. Like the juxtaposition of that was so disturbing. But yeah, like it's so frustrating to know, one, how hard Kasi had to fight to even get this made. Apparently she needed, you know, one of the main reasons it got made was because of Samuel L. Jackson.
Wow.
Just like bringing his star power to it.
Wow.
Because, you know, he was kind of a big star at the time. I mean, still is, obviously. And but even so, like, and she was an actress like that people knew, but it you know, but this was her, you know, first film she got to direct, and then like the next, like, you know, film that she gets to direct, like that people actually know, you know, is Talk to Me, which came out.
Wow.
Let's see, how many years
What's that,
later?
20
Like, so she directed
Five?
some film,
Like 2010, 26 or 20.
2007.
Damn.
Oh my God, 2007? 10 years later.
Yeah, like, so like according to IMDb, she directed one film you know, in between, which is called The Caveman's Valentine. But like, I'm just looking at it, it's like some, you know, crime film, like Samuel Jackson's also in it, but it's just like, you know, I whatever. I don't know. It just looks like a movie that like didn't ever think it was gonna do well, and you know, it's kind of just like, yeah, you can do a thriller again, I guess. You know, Samuel Jackson's gonna be in it. Fine, we'll make it. But like, yeah, it's so frustrating because it's so good, and it made $14 million off of $4 million, meaning it was profitable. And I'm sure they didn't like give it the time of day in terms of advertising and stuff like that. So it's frustrating, but I really think everyone should see it. If you haven't seen it, please, I would watch it before listening to this.
So
honestly.
Hollywood is telling me the Full Monty is better than Eve's Bayou. Do y'all niggas remember the Full
No.
Monty?
I don't even
It's a
think that's
stripper.
what they're saying.
No.
That's not what an Oscar.
No, James. Okay.
All right.
Best Picture means these are the best movies that came out in
No.
the year. So you telling
means-
me
No.
a movie with these old ass
No,
British
it
dudes
means-
stripping?
because what it means is like, these are the people who we like, and these are the people who paid the most money, and these are the people who, I don't know, maybe a couple of us have had sex with, and that felt good. and also like these are the people who
Wow.
like, maybe I did a line with them once. You know what I mean? Like that. I feel like it's that, you know, it's like, and then they're like, and let's give them a statue.
There is no fucking way. And I want to really preface this. There is, because again, this is the same shit that pissed me off about Selma. Bruh, I seen the Full Monty. We don't study that shit in no film school. All right, like that shit ain't in like it ain't in
Big
the
Ass
British.
Rock is a funny song though.
Is that movie in the fucking British Film Reserve or some shit? No. Is it an American one? No.
But
This
Big Ass
movie
Rock.
is.
Oh man. Okay, shall we get started? Yeah.
I
this-
love As Good As It Gets. I just watched it. Is it better than Eve's Bayou? No. It's
Yeah,
Jack Nicholson
but
being
Jack
a
Nicholson
weird
is the man.
racist. First off, and I want to say this because I don't want to come at Jack. Jack Nicholson is my favorite actor of all time. But in as good as it gets, Jack Nicholson is a racist homophobe. All right? He won an Oscar. Everyone's like, this movie's fucking great. He kind of becomes a better person. Fucking Eve's Bayou has performances from every one of his leads, and it teaches you about something you never heard of. Fucking as good as it gets, it's in New York. It's a racist, sexist dude. He's homophobic. He's mean as shit to animals. And it's like, that shit's supposed to be funny. And I love Jack Nicholson. You telling me these black people didn't deserve to get a nomination for teaching us about one fucking witchcraft? Talk about John Baptiste. I'm looking at Jurnee cry her little ass off. Sam Jackson with this wig. Come on, the wig alone, Bray.
What I'm mad at more is just the lack of respect and opportunities that they got. They didn't get the opportunities that they should have gotten from this movie. So people should have watched the movie and go, like, this is incredible. Obviously, you can create films. Like, please make this movie. What do you want to make next? Anyway, it seems like some of them are cashing in now. Like, it took it 20 years, like literally 20 plus years for them to start getting, like Kasi Lemmons, is directing way more now than she did then, and it's because people were like, why was she never directing before?
What's happening? People are like, oh, snap, maybe we shouldn't just get this white dude this movie because he white. Let's find somebody who's been directing for 20 fucking years, who did great movies, and give them a quote unquote shot.
Right.
A shot. Yo, the confidence of an average white dude. Like, I'm not talking about one who's exceptional. I'm talking about average. Like the Mick G. I'm gonna start naming directors that's gonna burn my career.
You just out of nowhere said Mick G. Here are my things about Mick G, though.
All right.
I like those Charlie's Angels movies.
No, Bray. Come on. The thing is,
I like those Charlie's Angels movies, though.
Those movies are fun, but my point is that these people have a chance to just do whatever they want.
He did like a fine job with Terminator 4. I mean, I hate Terminator 4, but he did like a fine job. Like the look of Terminator 4 was okay,
My point is, if a black woman had directed that movie and it would have got that much hate and if did that poorly, she would not direct again for 30 years. No,
you're right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to come at him or Brett Ratner, I'm just saying.
Don't act like Rush Hour wasn't fired up.
But what I'm saying is,
don't act like Rush Hour wasn't fired up.
They get a chance to do whatever they want. And like that.
You know what's funny though, too, to that same end? I know we're not talking about this movie, but when Brett Ratner directed Red Dragon, that sequel to Silence of the Lambs, on the entire DVD commentary is him talking about all the people he had to ask to help him do a scene. Like, it's like, I wouldn't have been able to get through the scene if it wasn't for, but it was like, but it didn't seem like he was just giving them credit. It seemed like he didn't know what to do. And it didn't sound like somebody being like, thank you for being there for me. It sounded like somebody being like, I was asked out if it wasn't for this.
Man, I'm tired, man. Like, and you know what? You guys are right. I shouldn't have looked at the Oscars. I shouldn't have. I need to stop putting so much weight on it. You're right. Because this shit just makes me mad. Like, why did it take Misha Green? Like, for real. Let's talk about Jurnee.
We gotta talk about this movie.
Okay.
Oh, you're right. You're right. No,
okay.
yeah.
Let me say.
Let's celebrate this movie for a second.
All right. You're right. You're right. Let me not trash Hollywood for being trash to black people.
All right. We trashed them. Okay.
No, not enough.
I wait. Can you guys talk about the opening monologue for this movie? Because I like kind of heard it, but it was so low on my thing, and then we eventually put on subtitles. So it was quick.
Like, it wasn't like a full. It wasn't like a full monologue, right? It was like,
she said the history. She said the history of we're on this land, named after a nurse that saved. I don't know if John Baptiste was a Confederate or a Union worker, but like, it was a former slave who saved a general or something like that. He freed her, and then as a reward or some shit, she bore him like 16 babies or some bullshit. Like that's okay, reward. And they are descendants of John Baptiste. And then, you know, she was 9 when she killed her dad. That's how we got into it.
Right. And then we open on like a party. And you know, it's like, it's cool. I mean, it's just amazing to see. You have to really think about this in the 90s too. The 90s, which is an era where hood films are kind of like the films that that Hollywood has allowed Black people to make. They don't really let them make films like this, where you have a upper middle class Black family, you know, other upper middle class, you know, Black families. They're like partying in a house. They're just drinking. You know, it's like not quite Great Gatsby, but it's like, you know, this feeling of just like, yeah, they're just like, these just people partying. You see the children playing, you know, Jurnee loves playing pranks on her little brother. They're like running around the house. There's a, you know, man dancing with his wife, getting nice and frisky. Always a little weird when you have the one couple at the barbecue just being like, what are you? Yeah, like their children around.
Just hands on the ass. Just hands.
Yo, my man was just in it. I was like, good God, brother.
What the woman say? If she don't get her ass out of my face. And then they took away the subtitles for whatever the insult was. They were like, we'll give you the subtitles for the first half. But then they took them away for whatever she was saying she was going to do if she didn't do it. Oh, that was great.
Oh, man, I thought it was awesome.
And then, but then at some point, Jurnee gets, you know, her character gets upset. What's her character's name? I gotta Eve, obviously,
because it's her Bayou.
It's not her Bayou. She's named after Eve's Bayou.
No, it's her. The Bayou belongs to her. That's what
Bayou.
That was another thing they said in the opening monologue.
Oh
you just
gosh.
missed it. They named the Bayou after her. Yep.
Okay. But Eve gets upset because her dad isn't. Or her dad. We don't kind of learn this later. We actually don't really. I didn't fully get it at the time. Other than somebody was like, "Why aren't you dancing?" She's like, "I can't dance." And then she runs away and she runs into like a shed, and then she falls asleep. And then when she's woken up by her dad having sex with another man's wife.
Oh, beginning of the movie, just rubbing up against each other. But to a kid, I was like,
yeah, that's definitely sex as a kid. Yep. I mean, you know that was. Yeah,
I think it might have been sex too. We don't know. Yeah, I actually.
No, I mean what
she says. Right.
For all the kids that listen to the podcast, going, but what softcore can I watch?
Okay.
James.
Wow. Anyway,
I was trying to be authentic to my experience.
I agree. I agree with you, James. But when Jurnee sees this, she scream, like she doesn't even scream. That's like that kid scream where like you're in trouble and you're like you lose all the air in your body.
But this was the moment when I was like, that's the same shit. Like what she did right there felt like episode 3 of Lovecraft when I won't say any spoilers, but episode 3 when it's like all on her dealing with her house. I was like, this is the same shit. Like she's so she was capable of so much back then. Like it's so wild.
It's crazy. And you know, Samuel Jackson's like, oh hey honey, remember her and you know blah blah blah. And she's like, oh, you scared us. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry for scaring you. I'm sorry. Like her immediately apologizing. I was like, oh man, this is what women have to deal with. Like it's just such a sad thing of just like women apologizing because a man did something horrible. And then just like, I'm sorry. And you're just like, oh my God. This little girl clearly freaked out, goes in, tells her older sister about it, what she saw. And of course, her older sister, played by Meagan Good, was just like, no, you didn't see that.
And then walks her through a whole nother scenario.
Now, this was incredible filmmaking.
It was really great.
She literally is like, that's not what you saw. What you saw was this. And they have and then they replay the kind of scene with Meagan Good right by her sister's side, hand on her shoulder, and they're like watching it happen the way that she's describing it. Like, this is what you saw.
Yeah,
I
and like
mean-
and all of the things that happen, like they still knock over the bottle. Like all of the stuff, all the beats happen, but it's just kinder and like it through a glassy eyed like.
But also
not what
the
really was
directing,
there.
and Bray, I think you might have been hitting at this. The directing, her directing was so good, and she has a couple scenes that I thought were just like fantastic, which I personally don't know how she did, and I'm very curious. Like her blending of the bedroom and this flashback was so good because how we get to this flashback is we kind of like just slightly go in on Meagan and Jurnee a little bit. Now we're back in the boat room. We moved the camera. Now they're standing there, but as it moves a little bit more, they're back in the bedroom as Meagan is finishing That's What You Saw. And I'm like, this piece of filmmaking is so good and was so smooth. And she does it again later on when like the aunt is talking about her husband who was murdered in the mirror. And I'm like, this shit is so, like, she's so crafted. And I'm like, the fact that this woman didn't direct again for another 10 years, I'm just like, how? So good. So good. I like, honestly, so fascinated by her.
Yeah.
And Meagan was great. Meagan was great.
Yeah. There's also just like, so this whole entire film, here's how you know the directing was great, because the performances match the camera movements, matches the cinematography and the color, kind of correction, and it matches the editing, and it matches the score. Like everything is like feels somewhat like a dream. There's like this kind of thing about this movie of just like your memory is, it's very malleable because it's just like there are things that we remember, we forget, like we want to forget, things that, it's like your mind protects you at times.
When your memory
and
gets influenced by like just someone else saying something, it makes you question it a little bit. Like, wait, really?
Yeah. And even the way that the script, even the way the script is written, or at least how it comes out, is like, you don't fully understand. There are some details that we're saying that you don't actually even get fully until a little bit later on. They kind of like put things in, they cement things like later. They're like, no, this is like, it's not like 100% like, oh, these are the three kids and that's this person, that person. You kind of like, you learn like as you keep watching, you're like, okay, yeah, that is this, that is that, but they, one of the best moments of this, I don't know how much this is skipping ahead, is with the sister, Samuel Jackson's sister, so like Eve's aunt, when you find out that like 3 of her husbands have died.
Oh man.
Like
Yes.
the way that you find that out, like I forget, she just says something and she's just like, oh, and she like, it always and she puts like a picture up against the other 2 pictures and you're like, wait a minute,
Yes.
what?
3 died in tragic ways.
Yeah, and this was another example of that, like, memory layered on top of another memory, like where they like pan out and she's like trying to tell the story and they pan out and there's in the mirror there's just 3 men staring in the mirror that like like it's really
That whole
powerful.
mirror scene was so beautiful because she also admits how we get into it is like her and because basically skipping ahead is like in that scene Eve tells her that she saw her dad, she basically saying her dad cheats. She's like, me and your dad are similar, it's just that I didn't have kids to catch me. And then she goes into how the husband who loved her the most died, and then she confesses that he was killed by a lover. And I mean, just seeing her go to the mirror, seeing the actions play out, I was like, oh shit, are we doing this? Lighting is still the same. Seeing Jurnee walk up, and I'm like, okay, cool, they're probably behind her. I was like, so we're gonna just see this play out because the dudes are probably just behind them. But when she like walks through the glass into the scene, I'm like, yo, this is great. And then she just turns back around and like Eve is there. I was like, this, honestly, I was like, filmmaking wise, this is great. And also it was such an interesting way to have this flashback without doing a traditional flashback. It's like it's still in real time, if you will. So we don't lose sight of the characters. I thought that was so smart. God.
Yeah, and the Lynn Whitfield in this, like, look, they are beautiful. Like,
Beautiful.
so like at some point Eve's like, oh, but like mom, like, mom is the most, beautiful woman in the world. They like say that, like the Samuel Jackson says that, Meagan Good says that, you know what I mean? Like they're like repeating these things, and she is like, she's striking, she's beautiful, but there's something about her that feels uneasy. You don't know, like in the beginning, you're not sure if it's her, you're not sure if it's, what she's experiencing. There's just like this, you're like, what's going on? Like, why is everyone so like, feels so weird? And then when the sister is like doing all of her readings, and you're like, okay, so there's some like weird, voodoo kind of magic happening in this house. Man, that was, I don't know.
She called it counseling.
And then this run of scenes was all great.
Counseling.
Yeah.
She's a counselor.
Yeah.
So it wasn't voodoo, she was counseling.
And they're like, we hear them say, like, we just let her do that because we know she's crazy. Like,
but I thought something, I mean, even what you're saying, the mom, it was so interesting because she almost was like a Stepford wife, where she was so pretty, she was still smiling, but you could see behind her eyes she was cracking. And I thought that was such, because I feel like a performance like that will get looked over because, she's not chewing up scenery. But like you can see the pain in this woman in almost every scene. Knowing that, the moment she came out at the beginning is like, what's wrong with her? The fact that Sam Jackson was talking to the door, like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with you? Like she says it. And like we all know some shit went down, and she knows. I don't know, man. I thought that she was fantastic. I mean, the aunt was by far my favorite character, I think, of the whole thing, because she was going through so much. I'm not going to compare her to whoever else nominated for Best Supporting Actress, so let me not that year. But I will say also the thing,
man, fuck a Meryl Streep, whoever it is.
Meryl Streep ain't getting nominated for no Best Supporting, brother. Come on, stop it now. She.
You said supporting. Okay, right.
But I think there is something to just watching Jurnee go through. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like this character went through so much, from the mom being spooked and kind of locking everybody in the house. I thought she played a child so well, which I think is really hard for kid actors, because she was acting for so long. Like, when they get locked in the house and she gets bored, she's literally on her bed, she's bored, she jumps up, goes to Meagan Good's room, and like she looks at the door, and then out of nowhere just gets mad energy and just starts banging on the door. What are you doing in there? Or the bathroom door, just starts banging on the door. And then that's not enough. So she goes, looks in there, gets the little fake snake, looks at it, smiles, and takes her brother's glasses and puts the snakes there. And then it's just a nice evil smirk. And then she just goes downstairs, and we're just waiting for her to scream, I hate her. I thought it was so good.
Because what else? I mean, what are they supposed to do? They've been like sitting inside for who knows how long.
Honestly, it's messed up. It is messed up. That's the thing. You're like watching, you're like, it is messed up to keep your kids inside because like some, fortune teller.
And it's why they would like.
And it's not even what the fortune teller, it's not even like the fortune teller was like, you got to keep your kids inside. The fortune teller just said, look to your kids. And then also the other, her sister-in-law saw some kid getting hit by a car, but didn't even know what kid.
Yeah.
She's like, all right, you're staying inside the whole summer. Oh, when that happened though, I screamed at Tessa. I was like, this is us. We're in COVID.
Are you serious?
Stay inside.
Are you serious?
And I feel like look to your kids, right? Is like your kids, there are things going on with your kids. Like one of them knows about your husband's infidelity. The other one is confused about her relationship with her father. Like, look to your kids. Like, pay attention to them. But instead, it's like she like holds them captive, which is why they would cheer when a kid is dead because they can finally go outside. Like, that scene is so unnerving when they're like cheering.
And the mom was like, "Don't be happy if someone lost their kid." But it's so funny, James. You hitting it on something. Again, this isn't a spoiler, but I listened to the Lovecraft Country podcast, and it's an episode where I think it talks about something like this, where it's like, I feel like oftentimes Black women, especially Black girls, get left out of so many conversations. Like, you know, we often talk about how often Black men and young Black boys get, you know, killed and assaulted by the police, but there's so many videos and footage where it happens to Black women. I mean, from cops dragging Black girls out of pools and shit like that. And, you know, on this particular episode of the show, they talk about Black elders, you know, and how Black elders will discuss a Black girl and how to protect her and what is right for her and what she should do. But then they will talk about her, but not talk to her or actually listen. So then whatever is happening to her continues to happen until it becomes something that's so big that it has to be addressed, where it's like pushed in front of their eyes. And that's kind of what happens throughout this entire movie. It's like, I mean, even it happens with Sister and Sister. Like Meagan Good silences, you know, Jurnee for an example, you know, and then at one point people are just ignoring Meagan Good throughout the whole thing, who's going through some crazy shit, until an instance of a sister on sister, like a moment, which I didn't realize was from this movie, just like that moment of Meagan Good in the car and puts her finger up like, shh, and looking at Jurnee, and all of a sudden the aunt knows exactly what went down. Like the aunt knows, and it's like one of those things that was under her nose the whole time, but she just didn't look or listen because, you know, I feel like sometimes as adults, you get lost in your own shit that you don't listen to what this kid is telling you until you have to. And by that point, their life has been altered in a way that, you know, can never be changed again.
Yeah,
I think that's
it's irreparable. Yeah.
I don't know. It was, that sucks, man. And the thing about it is because Sam dies, it never is fully addressed. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe that's the point. Maybe
I think that is the point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because, so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this movie that's so interesting because you have, you know, the sister-in-law's kind of character, which is, her storyline is kind of separate. I guess that's like the B storyline in the film, where, you know, while the mom, like Eve's mom is told to look to her kids, and she interprets that as, oh, something's gonna happen. The sister-in-law is told, you know, you're a curse.
Yes.
And every man you marry is gonna die. and she's like, you know, she screams at her, she runs away, but she's like feeling it. And then later on, we get this, you know, random dude who kind of comes to her door, who also is, you're like, just like, who is this guy? He's like, kind of like, you know, he just, it just, because it's raining, it's just, I love the line where he's like, am I disturbing you? And she's like, I don't know yet.
Yes. He got the long hair. I was like, what is this?
The long hair. And he's looking for his wife. She sees that his wife is cheating on him.
Yeah.
So she tells him that. And then they fall in love, or at least into passionate love making. And, you know, and there's this monologue. Oh, sorry. There's this monologue that she gives when she's talking to Jurnee. All right, this is a bit of it. She said, last night I had a dream that I was flying. It was such a fine feeling, but in the corner of my eye, I saw a woman drowning in the very same air that was keeping me afloat. And I knew without looking that it was me. Should I save her? Then I heard Lewis's voice saying, don't look back. So I kept on flying and I let her drown. When I woke up, I told Julian I would marry him. He wouldn't have it any other way. Maybe God will be kind and allow me to go with him. I'm so tired of being left alone.
Man.
And I was just like, oh my God.
Man.
First of all, that's obviously, that's poetry, but it's also just like, you know, speaking so much, you know, to this experience that I'm sure many other women have felt, of just like feeling left You know what I mean? Alone, and whether it is like, so she's specifically this widow, like 3-time widow, which I can't even imagine what that's like. But the thing is, like, yes, there's this woman who's telling her she's cursed, she's a witch, but I feel like society places so much blame on women for whatever is happening with men. Like when you like look and see this other stuff, you know, I feel like we don't fully understand what happened to Harry. Was the last one who died, but he was drunk, and it seems like it was a car accident.
Yeah,
right?
because that's what I think. I think Eve saw that. She saw him die in the car crash.
She saw it in her
So
vision.
like he's drunk all the time. If he's drunk driving, like that's not her fault, you know?
Right. Oh, but
like,
he wasn't driving that night. He was being being driven.
He was being driven. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
but it also, I guess, could have happened not at that night. Like it could have happened at a different.
That's
time.
what I meant. We didn't fully understand it. Did we learn how the first husband died?
The army one? No, I just saw him in an army suit. I forget, like.
Right. Maybe he died.
I mean, the death that her husband was killed in front of her by a lover.
That was another. That moment also scared me. The gunshot. I wasn't ready for it. I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but I wasn't ready for it. It made me jump.
Right. I was like, I didn't know if he was going to die in that instance, but I was like, man, that is some traumatic stuff. Where like that guy you cheated with, like the guy you cheated, and just showed up at your house,
and then that is her justification for why she doesn't want Eve to tell anyone about what happened, because she's like, if you do, then your dad's gonna die. Like she's essentially saying, like, if you tell someone, your dad's gonna die.
And that's what happens,
you know? And that's exactly
because what is so fascinating about it is that, you know, once Eve hears about what happens to Meagan Good's character, she like goes to the fortune teller, asks for a voodoo doll. She's like, I want to curse. I want him to die. So the woman does curse him, but just I think that the interesting part is, and she kept making sure that she wants to do it, but I think Eve wanted to have the control of like putting him in pain, but not like just ending his life. And so the fact that she goes and runs directly, because even, I don't know how, we never know the distance of things, but I think people make sure to say, like, did you walk all the way here? Did you do all of this? Like when Meagan Good walked to get to her dad's office and walked to get her hair done. And then when Eve walked to the bar, it's like, yo, you came all the way here? That bar scene.
I gotta say, when Meagan Good left the house, defied her mom's orders, left the house, and then came down and saw that, like, she was like, oh, I went to the beauty parlor. I thought immediately, like, oh, look, she's like trying to look like her mom. Like it looked like that.
Yeah,
like her hair was kind of done in a similar way, and I was like, oh, she's trying to like be like her mom. And I felt uneasy about that. I didn't like fully get, but I did feel uneasy about that. And like, I mean, man, was that such heavy foreshadow? Oh, well, I guess it happened. That
and
night.
the slap is so there's so much weight to it, because it's not just like, how dare you leave my house? It's like that slap is like trying to knock sense into her to be like, don't lust after your father. Like that's what's behind that slap.
Yeah, and she also says at one point, you know, she blames me for pushing him away, you know, like, so everything that you realize Meagan Good is doing is because, she has some attraction to her dad, but it's almost like, I'm trying to keep the household together. Like she even says, after the fight, I went down and I tried to comfort him. And like, both stories start the same way. They just shift a little bit. Like she went down, massaged him. Was like, I want you to feel better. I know this is bad. And so that's scary. But then when Jurnee runs into the dad's friend who, what's his name? The guy she's cheating with, Lenny.
Oh,
when
man.
She runs into Lenny and she stops, and then she makes a decision that she's gonna tell him without telling him. Like you see it on her face. Like that acting was.
Yes.
She makes the decision to do it.
It was so good. Yo, when she was like, "Oh yeah, your wife doesn't seem like the lonely type. My dad isn't either. but my mom and you guys seem like the lonely type. And you're just like, what?
Yeah. And she's like, oh, so you're never home. Yeah, my dad hasn't been home. Like, oh my gosh. And then when she walks away, she like smirks to herself. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. And then and I just want to say too, like I love the sort of the kind of commentary on mysticism and on you know, sort of like the unknown of how, you know, Eve kept trying to figure out how to enact justice on her father and wanted him dead, and believes that she killed him, even though the woman was like, no, I didn't, you know, like, I'm not gonna curse him, I'm gonna just like, I'll protect your family against him, I'm not gonna curse, you know, but still the energy that she's putting forth towards that, you know, she puts the blame on herself that he was murdered, but also the woman was going around telling people that, you know, that he was sleeping around with her anyway. And then, you know, so it's like there's the energy that she put out into the world, and then also the facts that were put out into the world, and she now also like puts that, you know, she believes that she's the cause of the death, even though
she
may
wanted
not be
him
true.
dead.
Yeah.
She felt like she wanted him dead. She literally, you know, had a pretend voodoo doll that she was sticking pins into, and she like got a little bit of hair and gave it to the, you know, the woman, the voodoo doctor, and so she's putting that on herself. But yeah, you're right. Like, ultimately, it's his actions that caused his own death. You know, but
yeah,
it's so. And it's so crazy because it's like, then we get this scene, you know, before this we get, I don't know, did we even really talk about what happened with Samuel Jackson, Meagan Good? Like, we get that scene, and this is Meagan Good's telling of it, of like, yeah, I was there, like, I went down, I wanted to comfort daddy, you know, she's like giving him a massage, sits on her, they do like a little dad-daughter kiss, and then they're like really kissing. And she's like, yeah, he started really kissing me. And then I tried to pull away and he slapped me. And you're just my God.
She also said, I pushed him, and I must have pushed him too hard. I must have hurt him. She goes, I must have hurt him because then he slapped me. And it's like, no, don't think that this is in any way you're doing. Like, right, it was awful.
And that, I mean, like, how many stories, right? Like, how many times are women gaslit with this? You know what I mean? Like, it's just but we're watching it. We're watching the, like, kind of the gaslighting. We're watching. We don't know. We're as the audience, we're looking at this and we're seeing this woman like doubt herself or blame herself. You know, we see Jurnee be so upset. And then we get to the end and Jurnee's reading this letter, and we're seeing the story told again from like a different version of the story, which is, no, Meagan Good was the one who kissed him and was treating that, and Samuel Jackson was the one who tried to push away and then slapped her because he was just startled by what she was doing, you know, and felt bad about it and felt bad for slapping her and didn't know what to do. And it's acted so well both times that both feel super realistic and believable. You know what I mean?
And also,
like, the slaps feel realistic.
Shots pretty much the same, like the same frames each time, so like it just feels like the same moment, just the approach is different. It was amazing.
And then so you're like, oh wait, oh shoot. And so Jurnee feels bad about herself. She's like, why did you lie to me? And she goes to Meagan Good. Meagan Good starts crying, and she's like, you know, he wrote this, what's the truth, tell me. And she says, I don't know. And you're like, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
Because she said, because at first she was
And
like,
we don't know.
because at first it was like, why'd you lie? Why'd you lie? Why'd you lie? And then she's like, I didn't lie. And like, what's the truth? And when she's like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then, Eve, they hold hands. And my thought was like, oh yeah, she's looking into her mind's eye and seeing what happened. But then we don't see it. And,
Yeah, because they hold hands, right?
They
She
hold
has-
hands. And,
so she can
right.
see it.
It's great.
I mean,
It's great.
And also the reason he wrote that letter is because after that moment that his sister saw the aunt apparently approached him about it and accused him of doing something. Because he was like, basically, he wrote the letter to his sister being like, I don't know what have I done to make you believe I could do such a thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man. Also, his death scene I thought was shot so well. Like with the train coming, and then it almost like it was a dream, but then like him kind of falling, and you see him fall under the train, under the train. It's like this is it's so well.
Every time reality caught up with a vision, it was so well shot.
Yeah,
it was the sequences were always so well matched together, and also blurred, like how Bray was saying earlier, so wonderfully.
I mean, I think I finally come around to something James has been preaching about, for years with this movie.
What? Something I said?
I don't believe in the Oscars anymore.
Oh, what?
I think there needs to be a time when people of color just do their own thing. And I thought about this a lot because, the Oscars is doing a lot to be inclusive, forcing people's hand. But I'm like, if I have to force you to include me in something, that probably means you don't want me there or want people like me there. So why would I take the time to fix your broken system? Why not just take what we have, the people we have, and make our own things? Like, why do we not just... We could make an award show that not only has a best picture, but has a best comedy. They could have a best dramatic actor, a best comedic actor.
Wow.
We could have a show where, like, unlike the Emmys and unlike the Oscars, trans actors can't get nominated. You know what I mean? Like, we could literally do the thing, but yet we keep depending on these white institutions to make us feel validated.
Say that, Jerah.
Are you talking about the BET Awards? Or?
Yeah,
No,
are
but
you
this is
talking
my
about
thing.
the
This is my
NAACP awards?
No,
You
but
talking
this is my
about
thing.
it's
But
any
this
of
is
these
my-
things that already exist?
No. I'm not, because the BET Awards is very particular to Black. And to me, I think there is something to people of color. There is something to Black people. There's something to, like, Indigenous people. There is something to Latinx people where, like, they are also not getting nominated for these awards.
Oh, you're talking about the BIPOC awards.
Exactly.
You're talking
Why
about
not
the
just take-
BIPOC awards? I just had to say
Right.
both versions because
I don't know which one's right, but that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an award show that would award us, like, straight up. It's like, we don't have to sit here and talk about, like, One Day at a Time has been through 4 fucking networks and still has never gotten a comedic award on anything. And yet this show is so important to people that they have not been every time they cancel, they're somewhere else. They don't like CBS. But yeah, we don't award the actors on that show. We don't award the show. Come on, man. Why are we looking at white people? Literally, I'm looking at the year. Yes, Titanic was that year. Again, Jack Nicholson is my favorite actor. I love As Good as It Gets. The Full Monty, dog.
Damn.
Like, you're telling me these movies are better than what this Black woman has done? We talked about Selma. We talked about how fucking Ava didn't get credit for rewriting the script.
Listen,
But
Big
white people
Ass
did.
Rock is a good song. I ain't gonna let you. You can't be saying fuck the Full Monty all
Full
day. Not in my
Monty-
presence.
The Full Monty is a fine movie, but again, there is something about us having to prove our worth to people who
Wait,
don't
is the
understand where we
movie the
come from.
musical? I keep referencing the musical. I don't even
It's
know
not-
if the movie is.
It's
the
not
musical.
a musical. It's not a musical, James.
Okay, well, I love that song from the musical. So
My point is that there has to be a time where we're like, yo, cool. Like, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? And let us do our own thing. That's all I'm saying. Like, I feel the same way when it comes down to even our comedy institutions. Like, people trying to fix theaters that didn't put people of color on stage. Why am I trying to fix their shit? And they quit.
don't just say theaters like you ain't talking about one specific.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they quit, and then now it's a panel of people of color and Black folk trying to fix it.
You're describing one place.
Well, the other one that was super racist is trying to sell the theater. Like, they're like, fuck it, we got too many problems. Let's just,
okay, you talking about
why are we
theaters,
trying to fix things that white people fucked up and now are giving up on?
Because
I
I
gotta
think
fix
humans are like, we like are creatures of habit, and so we have sort of been shown these systems that we think are the way to go and like are it. And so when a name becomes popular, like a theater that will not be named, or the Oscars, which I guess I'm just going to blatantly talk about again, you know, we think that we think that, you know, that's the way to go, and then that's the be all end all, and that's the hype. So we continue to, you know, we try to fix those systems instead of like being like, you know what? Fuck the whole system. Like, the whole system is burn it all down to the ground. Come up with a new system that's better for everybody.
Start from the ground up, man. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm just like, I am now realizing, like, again, looking at this movie and looking at some art, and every time you hear about a female director or a black director that someone's taking a risk on after this person's made a movie that was profitable and had good reviews, it's still a risk. It's still a risk. Listening to Patty Jenkins talk about the level of stress she had to go through to get Wonder Woman and how much of a risk it was for her to direct that movie after she did Monster, and it won her lead actor an Academy Award, and it was still a risk. And I'm looking at, I'm gonna stop naming people. Whatever. I'm not. I'm looking at Josh Track, who did one movie and it bombed, and he still gets more movies. He gets more movies. This woman had to do Wonder Woman, dog. Like, y'all understand? It is.
She had to do Wonder Woman, and it had to be good.
It had to be.
she couldn't just do Wonder Woman. It had to be great, and it was.
Man. Lord have mercy. I don't burn my bridges in Hollywood, so
I don't do bits anymore.
John is quiet. John's like, I ain't doing it.
I don't do bits anymore. That's not a thing that I don't partake in bits at all, you know, because y'all know me, because I'm a bitless dude, you know. I'm a dude that don't do no bits no more, you know.
Why are you doing?
Because like, you know, started from the bits, now I'm here. Started from the bits.
Right, well, okay.
Now I'm here. Okay. You know
Okay. No,
what you mean? What? Started from the bits, you know. Now,
all right, it's time for the cause.
Hey, Bray, I heard that this episode was sponsored by Blue Chew.
That's right, and we about to talk about sex, baby. We gonna talk about that's all. That's all we can just legally.
Oh, you're right. Did I already go past legal? Okay, wait. So Blue Chew is about increasing your performance to get extra confidence in bed. Okay, it's BlueChew.com. That's blue like the color blue. Okay.
If you don't know about Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis.
Yes, you can take it anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they're chewable, they work up twice as fast as a pill. So you can be ready whenever an opportunity arises. You know what I'm talking about?
I see what you're doing, and I don't like it. Blue Chew is made in the USA. It's prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor or wait in line. It's even cheaper than a pharmacy. They prepare and ship it right to you in a discreet package. No awkwardness, and you don't need to leave the house, which you shouldn't be doing anyway because it's a pandemic.
Not right now. So, but check it out. We got a special deal for our listeners. You go to BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use the promo code, which is Hollywood. Okay? So, and all you have to do is pay $5 shipping. Again, that's BLUE Chew.com, promo code Hollywood. You get to try it for free.
It is the better, cheaper, faster choice. We thank them for sponsoring the podcast. Remember, when you support our sponsors, you help make this podcast possible. So please be sure to use our promo code Hollywood at BlueChew.com.
Okay, y'all, look, let me tell y'all something. Yesterday, while I was trying to watch this movie that we were reviewing for the podcast, I was sitting in this, I got one of those rolling chairs.
With the stiff
I was
back.
sitting in that, and normally that helps my back out. But I was like, nah, my back hurt. So I looked over and I saw the big Yogi Bo beanbag chair that they gave us.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I can sit in that. And let me tell you, it conformed to my back. It was like, we got you. It was like a hug. I sat in it and it was like, it enveloped me.
You felt safe.
Wow.
You felt safe. I mean, listen, man, the Yogi Bo has stepped up to reinvent the furniture for your home and hundreds of other products that are all about making you feel good.
Mm-hmm. They use a special blend of proprietary fill made right here in the U.S. Every piece of furniture is assembled in New Hampshire by a team of crafty magicians.
Ooh.
Yeah, Yogi Bo has helped millions around the world feel more relaxed and concentrate better by providing a sensory experience like no other. They're super great for chronic pain, stress, and anxiety.
From multi-person seating, love seats to sectionals, there's something for everyone at Yogi Bo. So come on and discover the feel. Get 15% off with the exclusive podcast code Hollywood at www.yogibo.com. That's 15% off with the exclusive podcast code Hollywood. Lock your color in today.
Ooh.
Yogi Bo!
What's up, folks? It's Black Man Can't Jump in Hollywood. In the last year, we've been surprised by a lot. One of the biggest surprises is that more and more people actually want to talk about race.
Talking about race is hard, but these conversations aren't impossible. They're necessary.
Do the Work is a new weekly podcast hosted by actor and activist Brandon Kyle Goodman, who I actually went to NYU with. He invites us all to have honest conversations about race.
Each episode, you'll meet two people, friends, partners, coworkers, who have an uncomfortable, offensive, and sometimes even racist moment that they want to work through.
Brandon, along with author and racial justice educator Debbie Irving, who I went to NYU with, will untangle these moments so we can all learn how to have these tough conversations with our own loved ones.
James didn't go to NYU. And we'll get real takeaways on how to be better allies in our own lives.
Everyone has bias, including Jonathan Braylock. So you know what? Let's talk about it.
Join the conversation on Do the Work, available wherever you get your podcasts. I did go to NYU, didn't I?
You know, we all have done a scene or two at an NYU theater class. You know what I mean? Trying to get that reel up.
Time for the cause. We rate and review films not based on how much we like them, but whether or not they help the cause of more leading Black actors in Hollywood. So if we feel that a film fully helps the cause, we give it a black fist. Somewhat helped the cause, a white palm. Didn't help the cause at all, we don't get anything. Count of three. I'm gonna rate this movie. 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
3 black fists.
Hold up. Wait, nope. I got my feet up in the air too, though.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm trying to get.
Well, that's not the rating. So.
Nope.
That's not a thing, James.
Yeah.
I'm doing it.
Okay. Yeah, but it's not the rating though.
That's not how this works.
They need to, Eve's Bayou needs to know that I'm putting all the appendages.
All right. Well.
All right, James. Thank you. Thank you. For that.
Yeah. I gave it a black fist because obviously every single actor in this movie is incredible. Jurnee is crushing it right now. I mean, yeah, like Casey got to direct Harriet. I think directed a couple of. She directed some of the. She has her own miniseries coming out soon. All right, that's about it. You know.
Okay.
I gave it a fist because I, again, really enjoyed this movie. I think it's so well shot. So I think the fact that this movie exists, and maybe at the time it made some money, but it wasn't fully given the credit it deserved, like with awards and things like that. But the fact that it's in the National Film Reserve, I think that is very important to show like this movie is impactful and will continue to be so. So I'm here for it. Love it.
All right. I guess James already said his thing.
I already said. I put
Okay.
All you put your feet. Yeah.
Pulled his foot up.
You put your feet in there. I got it. Yep.
What more is there to say? I mean,
Yeah, you guys should really watch this movie. It's really good.
Please, it's so good.
Oh, I was just gonna do our little tags, social media. You can follow us at Black Men Podcast. BlackmanPodcast.com is our website. You get links to our merch, our Patreon, which we don't do new episodes on anymore. But if you want to listen to the 1 year's worth of episodes we put on there, you
if
can.
you want us to do Lovecraft Country,
that's true.
Tweet at us, ask it, because then we can talk about it.
A lot of people did want us to do Lovecraft Country.
Now they're done.
Oh, really?
Now the Lovecraft podcast
we
is
talked
enough.
about possibly
the actual Lovecraft podcast. They're like, we're good. We don't need to hear
we could have done it, but
we don't need to hear the niggas talking about it.
I will say, you have Forever Dog Plus.
Yes.
If you want to listen to this podcast and other great Forever Dog podcasts with no ads, you can do that.
Hold up, no ads?
Brother? No.
Yeah, man, no ads. I know.
I'm getting that.
And if you rate and review us 5 stars on iTunes, we'll read your review on the air. This is by Dev90. I agree with Dulce. Just finished listening to the review of Like a Boss with guest Dulce Sloan, and though I hadn't seen the movie, I thoroughly enjoy the episode. Dulce is hilarious, and as always, the guys bring a smart, funny, and insightful take on the films they review. I've been listening to the pod for a few years now, and I love it. It's become a highlight of my week. And I also really, really appreciate the mental health check-ins that the guys have been doing this year. As we all know, 2020 has been trash, and I've truly appreciated getting to know the guys a little better through those check-ins.
Thank you.
Glad to hear Jerah is doing better mentally. Love you guys and the pod. P.S. I 1000% agree with Dulce that Astronomy Club being canceled is a travesty. And James, Cat Williams' skit is iconic.
Thank you.
P.P.S. Would love for you guys to review Just Mercy, Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx film. It's a timely movie with great performances, and it's now available on HBO Max, I believe.
Oh, did we not do that? Have we not done that?
No, we haven't done it.
Yeah, we got to do that.
We do.
Wow.
All right.
I thought we did that one. That's crazy.
Thank you, guys.
Because we almost did it, and then we did the banker instead.
Gotcha.
And then this is by Nothing Else Anthony. Favorite podcast? I love this podcast. Just had to get that in because it was such a nice, short and sweet review.
Hell yeah.
Love it. Thank you.
Hell yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. You can follow me at John Braylock.
You can follow me at James Third Comedy, JamesThirdComedy.com. Third is 3RD.
Lord have mercy. You can follow me at Jerah Milligan. Oh, and this is not, I have no affiliation with this, but I think if you are a horror fan, there's a documentary on Amazon called Black Noir, and it's just a history of Black people in horror, and it's just really, really good. It's a lot of famous actors and creators in it. It's such a good think piece. I heard about it after listening to the Lovecraft Country podcast. You should watch it. You got Amazon, baby. It's good.
We'll see you next week. Peace.
Forever Dog. This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. To listen to this podcast ad-free, sign up for Forever Dog Plus at foreverdogpodcasts.com/plus. Check out video clips of our podcasts on YouTube at youtube.com/foreverdogteam. And make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Forever Dog Team to keep up with all of the latest Forever Dog news.